Hello everyone. Now I'll give you the explanation of Unit 5 of the essay Freedom by G.B. Shaw. Now let us put the case in figure. If you have to work for 12 hours a day, you have no freedom at all. So now he says that let us calculate the hours of freedom. Okay, he's giving us a calculative analysis here. He says that if you have to work for 12 hours a day, you have no freedom at all. If you work 8 hours a day, you have 4 hours a day to do what you like with, subject to the laws of the land and your possession of money, enough to buy an interesting book or pay for a seat at the pictures or on a half holiday at a football match or whatever your fancy may be. So he's saying that if we are working for 12 hours, then we have no time left with us for freedom. Why? Because if you remember in Unit 4, he gave us the distribution of 24 hours, where 12 hours we have to do certain things which are mandatory to do according to the demands of nature. And the remaining 12 hours we have to work in order to earn a living. So if we are working for 12 hours, then we are left with no free time. Okay. But he says that if we work for 8 hours a day, then we have 4 hours for our freedom, where we can do whatever we like. But again, whatever we will do, it will be subject to the laws of the land. And at the same time, it will also be subject to the monetary condition which we have. It means how much money we have in our pocket to spend during these 4 hours of freedom, that will decide how free we are. But even here, nature will interfere a good deal. Now, here again, if you have 4 hours, then nature will again intervene here. It will interfere here. For if your 8 hours work has been of a hard physical kind, and when you get home, you want to spend your 4 hours in reading my books to improve your mind, you will find yourself fast asleep in half a minute, and your mind will remain in its present benighted condition. Benighted means ignorant condition. He says that how nature will interfere with your free hours, those 4 hours of freedom. He says that suppose you work for 8 hours and your work is of a physical kind, and you have to do a lot of hardship during those 8 hours of work. Now, after spending these 8 hours of rigorous work, when you return home and you want to spend these 4 hours in reading a few books, maybe books written by Shaw, in order to improve your thoughts, improve your intellect, improve your mind, then you will find yourself asleep in half a minute. Why? Because you will be tired after those 8 hours of rigorous work, and your mind will remain in its present ignorant condition. And as you won't be able to read the books written by Shaw or any other book, your mind will remain in that ignorant condition as it was before reading the books. I take it then that 9 out of 10 of us desire more freedom, and that this is why we listen to wireless talks about it. So he says that, according to my opinion, 9 out of 10 people desire more freedom. And this is the reason why we try to listen about talks on freedom on wireless. As long as we go on as we are, content with a vote and a dole, the only advice we can give one another is that of Shakespeare's Iago, put money in thy purse. So he says that as long as we continue living a satisfied life, being satisfied with the right to vote or the daily wages, then we can only give one advice to each other, the one given by Iago. Iago was a character in the play Othello, written by Shakespeare, and Iago was a villain in that play. And he gave this advice: put money in thy purse, means whatever you have, just keep it for yourself. So he says that only one advice now we can give to each other, that save your money and put it for yourself, for your own use. But as we get very little money into our purses on payday, and all the rest of the week other people are taking money out of it, Iago's advice is not very practical. So on, you know, he is trying to explain here that whatever we earn on the payday, within a week, a major portion of that amount is spent. Maybe some people want money from us, or for some expenditures, we will have to spend money. We must change our politics before we can get what we want. And meanwhile, we must stop guessing about freedom, because the people of England in the lump don't know what freedom is, never having had any. Now he says that we will have to change our strategy, our politics, before we can get what we want. So, before we can get what we desire, we have to change our strategy and our politics. And meanwhile, what we can do? We must stop talking about freedom, because Shaw believes that the people of England, actually, a majority of English people, do not actually know what freedom is. Why? Because they have never relished freedom in its true sense. Always called freedom by its old English name of leisure. The people of England do not know the difference between leisure and freedom. So they keep on addressing freedom as leisure, and keep clamoring for more leisure and more money to enjoy it in return for an honest share of work. So they keep on shouting, keep on clamoring for more and more leisure hours, and more money, so that they can enjoy these leisure hours. And let us stop singing Rule Britannia until we make it true. So he says that if we want to enjoy freedom, we need to realize it in its true sense. So we should stop singing the song of Rule Britannia. Until we do, let us never vote for a parliamentary candidate who talks about our freedom and a love of liberty. So he says that until we realize the true sense of freedom, till then we should stop voting for a parliamentary candidate who is talking about our freedom or our love for liberty. For now, he's giving the reason why we should stop giving vote to any parliamentary candidate who is talking about our freedom and liberty. He says that because whatever political name he may give himself, he is sure to be at bottom an anarchist who wants to live on our labor without being taken up by the police for it as he deserves. So he says that any political party, any politician, whatever name he might take, whatever name may be given to his political party and himself, finally he will turn out to be an anarchist who will live on our labor, and he won't be arrested for his doings, for his exploitation of us. He won't be arrested for that. So he says that we should stop giving vote to any parliamentary candidate who is talking about our freedom and liberty. Why? Because all these people, all these politicians are finally anarchists at the base or at the bottom. And now suppose we at last win a lot more leisure and a lot more money than we are accustomed to. Now again he is giving a supposition. He says that just assume that if we get much more leisure time and much more money than we are habitual of or accustomed to, what are we going to do with them? The question is, even if we get enough leisure time and money, what are we going to do with that leisure time and the money? I was taught in my childhood that Satan will find mischief still for idle hands to do. He says that, here what he's trying to say, that even if we get enough leisure time, extra leisure time or extra money, there are many mischiefs that can take place in our life, even when we are sitting free during our leisure time with ample of money with us. I have seen men come into a fortune and lose their happiness, their health, and finally their lives by it, as certainly as if they had taken daily doses of rat poison instead of champagne and cigars. Now he is presenting a very harsh reality of the world. He says that I have been a witness to the destruction, to the end of many people who were quite rich, But when they got their fortune, their riches, what happened? They lost their happiness in life, their health, and finally, even their life, as if they were not consuming champagne or cigars as they were rich people. Rather, they were consuming some rat poison daily, and and due to this consumption, they died finally. So he's being a kind of a sarcastic person here, sure, and he is actually targeting the elite class or the rich people, that even money, riches, treasures, they cannot buy happiness for you, because he has seen many rich people dying despite having fortunes, despite having money, despite living a lavish life. They slowly and gradually move towards their end. They perish finally. It is not at all easy to know what to do with leisure unless we have been brought up to it. So he says it is not that easy to capitalize on the leisure hours as we think it is. It is not that easy until and unless right from the beginning we have been nurtured with leisure time in our life. I will therefore leave you with a conundrum to think over. So he's leaving us towards the end of his radio talk. He's leaving us with a kind of riddle, a puzzle, a riddle. He says, if you had your choice, would you work for 8 hours a day and retire with a full pension of 45, or would you rather work for 4 hours a day and keep on working until you are 70? Now, don't send the answer to me, please. Talk it over with your wife. So, he is leaving us with a kind of choice. He says that logically think what you want to do in your life. You want to work for 8 hours a day and retire with full pension at the age of 45, or you would work for 4 hours till you are 70. So the choice is up to you. And on a a very comical note, he says that please don't reply or don't send your answers to me. Rather, it would be better for you to discuss about it with your wife. So that's all for the explanation of the essay Freedom. With this, we have come to the end of this essay, Freedom by G.B. Shaw. Thank you.